Welcome, Randy Collins here for the Rabbit Hole Designs. Today we're going to create this Christmas card. This card is created using the one-line holly stamp set, and what that means is this one continuous line to create this image. So it starts out as a straight line, creates the image, and continues as a straight line. It's all one-line drawing. This sentiment has the sentiment on this stamp set is fa la 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 la. And I didn't want that for today. I wanted to use a simple sentiment. So I pulled in the one-line reindeer, which is the same concept. One line to draw the image. And I'm going to use the sentiment here, which reads Merry Christmas. Today we're going to be embossing. So I'm going to bring in our Cottontail embossing tool, which is an anti-static powder, and VersaMark Ink, silver embossing powder, and I'm going to use Distress inks to color our image. And I'm going to use Peacock feathers, cracked pistachio, picked raspberry, and fire brick. And I'll have those all linked in the bottom, so if I rattle that off too quick, you'll get to see read off what I use. For our pattern paper, I'm going to use this one sheet from our Retro Christmas 6x6 pad. For our card base is 110 white card, and I'm going to use that to stamp our image on. We're going to go directly to our card. This is going to be basically a one-layer card, so to speak. You'll see what I mean. So we start off by using our anti-static powder tool here to put on our card. I'm going to bring our stamping platform with a sticky mat in it. This is the My Sweet Petunia sticky mat, or grid mat. So now I'm going to put our image and our sentiment directly onto our card front. So I have it all set there. I make sure everybody's straight, and I'm going to use my VersaMark ink, which is a clear sticky ink, to stamp not only our image but our sentiment. And I'm sorry I got off screen there. I wanted to make sure I was completely straight before I went directly onto the paper. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that several times so I have it all nice and juicy on there. I will remove our card from our sticky mat, and I'll set that to the side, but I'll bring that sticky mat in once again a little bit. I'm going to use our silver embossing powder, and I'm going to shake off the excess. Now you saw that it went from clear to now here's our image. I'm going to use a clean brush here to just any little spots where I got my fingers in the way and it picked up a little static, just to make sure there's none of that embossing powder is anywhere near it. Bring in my heat tool, and I'm going to heat set this. I like to work front and back continuously to minimize my warping. And how do you know it's all set? It goes from a dull silver to a shiny silver. I don't think my camera picked it up too well here because I was moving too fast, but as you can see, when I first stopped, it was a dull silver, and now it's a nice shiny silver. Now let's color our image. I'm going to grab my sticky mat once again, and I'm going to wrap my card around it. So it's sticky, it's holding down just the front panel of my card. I'm going to bring in our Distress inks to color our image. For our hollies, we're going to use cracked pistachio, and for our holly leaves, I should say, and peacock feathers. I'm just smushing them onto a little palette here. And I'm going to use some water just to activate them, just to get them loose. And I'm going to color them using a number 2 little thin paintbrush. Our first leaf, I'm going to go direct ink to paper. That's one way you can do it. I like using clean water first, and then I bring in the ink. That helps when I go to blend the two colors. It just blends better. It gives you a nicer, easier flow. You don't have to worry about any brush marks staying there. And if you go outside the lines, you can just use a little bit of clean water and a paper towel to clean it right up. So I'm going to continue this, and I'm going to finish all of my little holly leaves with those 2 shades of green and blue. I'm going for that mixture there because of the pattern paper. It's got that aqua kind of color to it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that off, and now I'm going to clean off any extra. Even though I'm going to cut this away, I just wanted to show you how easy it is to clean it off just by using clean water and a paper towel. Just keep adding it and clean it off, basically diluting the ink. Now do the same thing for our berries. For our berries, I use picked raspberry and fire brick. I want more of that picked raspberry, a little hint of that fire brick, just to give you that little tone on tone. I brought in a little bit more cracked pistachio to fill in any little areas of our leaves, because I had a few spots that were not quite there. At this point, if you wanted to add any splatter, you can use the ink to add a little splatter. I didn't want that for this card. I wanted to keep it more clean and simple. Alright, so now I reinforced my score line, and now we're going to trim away all the extra on the bottom here. Just going to follow. I'm not cutting on my embossed line, just below it. I'm just going to follow that all the way around, and here you go. Now that's all cut away. And now we're going to add that little pop of color with our pattern paper. I'm going to trim about 1.5 inches, and I'm going to put that inside our card. You can go a little less, you can go 1 inch. I realized, I didn't need as much, but I wanted to go more on the conservative side and make sure I had 1 inch, a little bit more than 1 inch. I'm going to use some Barely Art glue, and I'm going to adhere that to the inside of our card. I'm going to trim away the excess, and now we have that beautiful pop of coming out from the bottom. Since it's white on that blue, it really gives it that nice tone. So for finishing touches, I'm going to bring in some sequins here. I have a silver one with little white dots, a tealy blue color or an aqua color one, and this little pink raspberry glittery one. And I'm just going to put a little cluster of 3 in the top right and 2 near the image. Thought about putting some by the sentiment, but I didn't like that. So that went quick and easy. So again, we used the 1-line holly, the 1-line reindeer, our bunny Cottontail embossing tool, some simple distress ink, and embossing powder to create this card, and our retro paper, of course. Thank you for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration.